Good evening. Welcome. Okay, so we'll be starting now. Just like we normally do it, this is going to be an interactive session. I will lead the presentation. I will rush through my slides, then we'll give room for us to discuss our practical experiences and give advice and relevant information that will help others to get through situations that maybe we've passed through in the past. So I've shared my screen already. And today we are talking about violence at work. First, my name is Johnson Wala. So I'm sure everybody here knows me. So I'm leading the discussion today. Violence at workplace, the causes and the prevention. That is what we are discussing today. So the first background moral is all employees are responsible for creating an environment of mutual respect for co-workers and clients. So the first thing that everybody needs to understand is creating an environment that will not lead to violence is everybody's responsibility. Just like we say safety is everybody's responsibility, it's also the responsibility of everybody to ensure that you don't do things that could bring about violence, either now or in future. So the next background moral is all employees are responsible for fostering good public relations by giving fair, conscious treatment to each other and by respecting the dignity of everybody. And at the end, you do your job to the best of your ability. Remember, we are discussing violence at work. So these are like the background. We are trying to create a background moral for us to understand what should be done to ensure that we don't get to that stage where violence erupts in the workplace. If you give fair hearing to everybody and treat everybody equal and respect everybody's dignity and do your job to the best of your knowledge, then we are creating an environment where violence will not be what we experience. Now, by definition, what is workplace? Everybody knows what is workplace. It's any location where the employee does his job, either permanently or temporary. So that is your workplace. The next definition we'll talk about is violence, workplace violence. It simply means either physical assault, threatening behavior, verbal abuse that occur at the workplace, especially if it's work-related. That is what we are talking about today. Violence is not just about physical, it could be verbal also. It could also be threatening behavior. Now, this is a program, Workplace Violence Prevention Program. It's a program that is designed by employers to ensure that they prevent, they minimize, and they respond to any violence-related behavior in the workplace. So every workplace should have a violence prevention program in place to ensure that there is no violence in future. And this program should be able to state means or procedures to prevent any violence by treating everybody equal, by ensuring that verbal abuse are not tolerated, by putting programs, a lot of programs in place removing alcohol, ensuring that drugs and alcohol policies are in place, because when people get intoxicated, obviously violence might erupt. So this workplace violence prevention program is a must-have for every workplace to ensure that we minimize the chances of violence in the workplace. All right, so these are definitions of a violence incident. The first could be an attempt or threat, whether verbal or physical, to inflict injury upon an employee. So like in the workplace, somebody will just raise up the tools, maybe a hammer. If one of the workers raise up hammer, I will hit you this hammer. That is a violence. There is a threat there to inflict injury. Another definition of violence is any intentional display of force given to an employee, trying to tell him that you're going to inflict a bodily harm. If you display any force, you are also committing violence at workplace. The next one is a wrongful physical contact. For example, instead of telling somebody, excuse me, so that you will be able to make your way out, you push the person by the side. That is also part of definition of an incident that could be violent incident. Or a harassment of any nature that will give employee reasons to fear, or the reason that will be difficult for him to pursue a normal life. If you are putting harassment on anybody, and that harassment is making it difficult for him to continue doing his job normally, then it's also part of violence at workplace. Or stalking an employee. Instead of allowing him to do his job, you are giving close marking. And this your close marking is giving room, is causing fear. So this is also another definition of violence at workplace. There are four basic workplace violence types. One is violence committed by customers or clients. Another one is violence associated with criminal acts. The third one is violence among co-workers. And the other one is domestic violence that is carried over to the workplace. Of course, we know violence committed by customers, like in the healthcare sector, maybe a patient got angry and hit the nurse or the doctor. So these are like customers in the workplace. The other violence involving criminal acts, like somebody got an illegitimate access to the workplace, and maybe he hit somebody, or maybe he abused somebody. So these are criminals. Another example is a security guard in the storehouse being bullied or being harassed by a criminal. So these are also violence at workplace. Now, the third type of violence is the violence among co-workers or managers. So this is what happens in the workplace between the workers or maybe their supervisors, threats, abuse, verbal abuse, attacks. So any violence that is perpetrated by co-workers or supervisors in the workplace, it falls under this category. Now, the third one is the violence that was carried over from home to the workplace. For example, maybe a wife came to the workplace to fight the husband because of what they were fighting for at home. So it's just a carried over violence from domestic to workplace. All right, these are warning signs of violence. The first, if there is a direct or indirect threat of harm, it should not be taken lightly. It should be considered as a clear sign of violence. If there are intimidations going on in the workplace, then we should open our eyes and know that violence is coming. Another one is harassment or bullying. There are harassment and bullying going on. There are numerous conflicts. Instead of people to go, everybody to agree to go left, sometimes they go right. Some people say they will go left, some say they will go right. So there are numerous conflicts of interest, conflicts of ideas. So we should be aware that violence might be coming up soon. Bringing weapons to work. Any weapons apart from the working tools that people are bringing to work we should have that is a warning of violence. Inappropriate reference to weapons. Fascination with incidents of workplace. Extreme change in behavior. Somebody comes to the workplace with, for example, somebody comes to work staggering. Maybe he has had a lot to drink for the day. So it's a clear warning for violence. Stalking and retaliation. So when these signs are clear in the workplace, we should be doing something. Now, what are the responsibilities of the employee to prevent violence at workplace? Every employee should respect everybody at work. We should refrain from threatening, harassing, and intimidating others. All employees should report threats. There are threats or violent acts, it should be reported to the manager or to the health and safety department or to the security department. Then every employee should cooperate with the employer. I should cooperate to resolve every violence that occurred in the workplace. Maybe people quarreled, or maybe people had abuses, and the management called them together to resolve the concerns. Every employee should cooperate. The next thing is they should also report to the supervisor and let the manager know about threats or abuse. And every employee should also call the supervisor or report to the security if he's being threatened or if he observed violence in the workplace. The management responsibility, according to OSHA Act 1970, also referred to as a public law, says that the employer should address workplace violence. Okay, these are OSHA recommendations that management should be committed and involved in preventing violence in the workplace. The management also should analyze the workplace to uncover areas of potential violence. And the management should prevent and control violence by designing safe workplaces and work practices. The management should provide violence prevention training to everyone in the workplace. And there should be an evaluation of a violence program effectiveness. So, like I said before, that every management or every employer should implement violence prevention program by analyzing, identifying the factors that could cause violence and putting up control measures to prevent any violence occurring in the workplace. Okay, these are examples of violent behaviors: verbal abuse or harassment, indirect threats or direct threats, verbal threats, extreme threats, and violent actions. So when these occur in the workplace, it should not be taken lightly, because if they are not handled at the earliest time, then it will gradually lead to more violent actions in the workplace. When people are getting verbal abuse, when people are engaging in abusing each other, it should be reported. We should train the workers to report such acts as part of violent prevention at the workplace, because gradually things will get heated up, the violent actions will occur. Okay, these are security measures that should be in place to prevent violence to the workers, especially from strangers or from the public. First is to keep all security doors closed. So there should be a proper identity card. Strangers should not be allowed at internal areas where it's restricted to only the employees. So we should report strangers in the workplace. If you see strangers moving around the workplace, it's everybody's responsibility to report to the security or to ensure that they are identified. Report burnout or inadequate lighting, especially at the night, if the workplace is not properly lighted, so strangers or intruders could make their way to the workplace and cause violence. So it should be part of what we report. Intervention before the violence gets out of hand. The management should deal with threatening behaviors right away. If somebody reports that he's being threatened, then we should deal with it. The person that is threatening the co-worker should be called to order, should be questioned in line with the organization's violence prevention program. The program or the policy should be amended from time to time as there is changes in the workplace. There should be zero tolerance for violence in the workplace, and there should be adequate communication. Everyone in the site or in the workplace should be aware of the violence prevention program and should know who to report to. The communication should be made open, and everyone should know who to report to in case he's being threatened, or in case he has a verbal abuse, or in case there was a breach of tolerance in the workplace. Okay, how do we intervene to face-to-face violence? If there are face-to-face violence, what do? You try to stay clear. You clear the area. You call for assistance. Remember that if people are violent to one or to colleague, that they could also be violent to you when you try to separate the fight. So first, you have to call for assistance so that you will not get overwhelmed. You try to calm down and polite. Do not chase the situation with the same force that is ongoing. While maybe two people are fighting in the site, do not use that same force to chase them. Use politeness and try to calm situations down. Establish eye contact so that you know exactly who you are talking to. Maybe you don't know their name. So while you are maintaining the eye contact, you'll be able to communicate effectively and let the person you are referring to understand that you are talking to him. Or if you want him to keep calm, or you want him to put down the weapons, you should maintain proper eye contact and ensure that you have an even tone. Even tone in the sense that you do not shout, don't raise your voice, at least at the earliest stage, while trying to maintain calm while face-to-face violence is ongoing. Another thing you have to do is to maintain a safe distance. Safe distance in the sense that if they are using weapons to fight, so that you will not become a victim, you have to maintain safe distance while communicating, and keep an escape route there in case you have to run for your dear life. Then you will not be trapped in the violence. Okay, when helping victims of violence, the first thing you should keep in mind is to get medical assistance. You should be able to call emergency immediately to give them medical assistance and tell them what is being done to resolve the problem, because they might still get agitated. Maybe it was two fighting in the workplace and one person got injured. They might still continue to get angry or continue boiling. But if you are telling him to calm down and giving him scenarios of what has been done already or what is ongoing, then he will be able to know that the situation is under control. Okay, so now they will give some concerns, they will make some complaints. You take your time and listen to the complaints and try to respond as early as possible and calm them down, knowing that the situation, letting them know that the situation is under control. So these are how you can help victims of violence. Okay, so I've run through my slides, and like our shop is interactive, we'll use this opportunity to discuss site-based or individual experience violence in the workplace and how we are able to resolve it. So that is what we'll do now. Okay, the room is open for anyone that wants to contribute.
Okay. Oh.
Go ahead, Francis. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, I think dealing with this workplace violence is it has a very large scope, because we are going to look at the resolving issue and what is also causing violence in the workplace. First and foremost, I know if there would be a program to look into violence in the workplace, such a program should start from risk assessment. First and foremost, you have to carry out a holistic risk assessment of your workplace. From the risk assessment, you should be able to know that there will be violence as the work or the company progress due to the operation. But you will not be able to know when violence will come up, because there are some other indicators that could bring violence that may not be foreseen. Now, we are going to look at money problem. Money problem in the sense that there are some companies that we engage numerous numbers of staff, and after having a policy that salary will be paid at the end of the month, you will discover that they will fail or rather disappoint the workforce. And I also believe such acts can create violence. That is management aspect. Now, there are also areas whereby you have an agreement with employers or your employee in area of contract agreement. Maybe you said your vacation will be 1 year, your vacation will be 7 months. But for the fact that during such agreement and your vacation time has arrived or has come, you will discover some company will tell you, we are sorry, you will not be able to go your vacation due to one reason or the other. such person can also create a violence due to breaching of contracts because you are already going against what you sign with him as per contractual agreement. So these are other way of violence. Then another one I also know. Now, there are companies that just wake up and lay off workers. You lay off workers without being given them their proper benefit. This can also cause violence in the workplace. And such violence, if not well managed, will create a very strong challenge, even to maybe expatriate or other people who are not supposed to be affected, will be affected in such violence. So, okay, then we are also going to look at the duty of care or roles. There are companies that don't actually know how to share or to assign roles to their employees. And such way there could be violence can erupt. So when we look at the issue of violence in the workplace, it's a very spread and is a very big challenge. So I think for me, from the process of the management, there should be a proper proper responsibility of how issues should be managed, because even from the security aspect, there should be well induction when a new employee comes to company. We should respect individual. You should respect their contractual obligation. You should also provide a safe working environment, and everyone should undergo the proper training, induction, so that they will know the company policy, so that if you want to go against, or the company wants to also go against your own contractual or your own right, you know how to channel your complaint to the right direction to avoid how you create violence at the end. You might also go in a very wrong way or not achieving your aim in the right direction. This is how I think we can also avoid violence in the workplace. That is my own contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. That was very elaborate and wonderful contribution. Okay, the room is open for others as well. Mr. Femi.
Okay, good evening, sirs.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I have a personal experience I would like to share. Sorry, I joined late. I was on a trip. That's why I didn't join early. So I have a personal experience I want to share. In 2019, while I was working in Iraq, Kabbalah refinery, I had a one-on-one experience as per violence. And this has to do with a contractor. You see, sometimes when contractors don't want to comply also, they resort to violence as a way of twisting you to have their way. So this contractor, I suspended their job a day before, and because their equipment were not up to standard, up to requirement. And then they informed their MD, who is an Iraqi. And the next day, as early as 6:30 a.m., the MD came to site. During TBM, the MD was asking the workers in Iraqi that, is that the supervisor? They said yes. And he told them, if he stops his job today, he's going to kill him. And one of the workers came to tell me in English what the guy was saying in Arabic. What I did immediately was to contact my manager, who invited them for a meeting and laid down the rules and regulations for them. They were made to apologize and told that if it repeated itself again, they will be penalized. So from my own angle, it's that number one, there needs to be a company policy as regards violence at work. And this can take so many forms. So many things can instigate it. I've seen, just like Mr. Francis said, in the same project, I've seen a situation where somebody inflicted bodily harm, bodily injury on himself, just to force the company to send him on vacation during COVID. The company said there is a no-fly rule. You can't go. But this guy said he must go. And he started cutting his body with blade. And they saw that this was over the board. And they had to send him away. So there needs to be regulations. There needs to be laws to follow. And any deviation from that, then there should be consequence management. And then the inputs of senior managers also, as supervisors, as superintendents, if it's beyond your level, then there should be a higher authority that we should be able to report to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi, for that wonderful contribution. So in one of the lessons I learned from your personal experiences, you do not take any threat for granted, and you should report the threat immediately to higher authority. Because if you took the threat for granted, you don't know what he would have done. And it would maybe has gone beyond what you thought. Maybe you would think that it's just a verbal threat. So whatever threat we encounter in the workplace, especially we from our field in health and safety, most times the contractors, they see you as an enemy, whereas you are trying to do your job and trying to keep everybody safe. So you can be a target of violence as well. So you should be able to report whatever threats or any incidents that can lead to violence. Okay. Let's give room for others also to contribute.
I think in addition to that, to prevent the workplace violence, it will also good for every company to have a surveillance, to install a kind of a surveillance system in the workplace where you can also have CCTV, all other means tied to the security surveillance. This will also create some fears to the workforce, unknowing to them that if we tend to create any violence, maybe we might just get caught with security and all that. So there should be a good surveillance system in the workplace. And also, it is also, just as I said initially, there should be a clear responsibility and a communication channel to all parties in the workplace. And it is also good for companies to have a clear training and support to all employees, so that they can have a clear vision of the company's drive as well. So I think these are also some other key issue that we should put into consideration to prevent violence in the workplace.
That's right. Thank you for that additional contribution. Mr. David, we are raising your hand. David, you raised your hand. Yeah, you can go ahead.
A form of a question, where we have the foreman and the general foreman and the lead man constantly pushing the workers for progress. They need to deliver the progress at the end of the day, and this constantly breeds room for high raising of the voice. It gives room for a very high tempo and exchange of words, which sometimes
David, you got your line was broken at a particular point. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, that network was bad. Okay, I think I heard a little of what you said. You said in a situation whereby the foreman and the general foreman are pushing the workers to work extra, and it leads to. So I think in such situation is part of what we discuss as signs of violence. So it's just something. It's just an incident that is waiting to happen. It's going to happen anytime soon. It's a situation that if nothing is done, some is going to lead to a very serious incident one day. It will get to a point where one of the workers will not be able to take it anymore, and they will take one of the tools and hit the supervisor. I've witnessed it before. It has happened in one of my workplaces before. So it's an incident that is waiting, that is in waiting. So we should, the solution is to start a program, a violence prevention program, communicate to the workers, put up consequences for anyone that engages in verbal abuse, physical abuse. So if that program is in place and anybody who is caught in between or who violates the program is penalized, so gradually it will start reducing. If nothing is done, an incident is going to happen anytime soon. That is what I think.
Good evening, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Welcome.
I'm sorry. I went to my son's school, so I thought I could make it before they had their PTM today. So I was just trying to rush, and I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're able to represent you very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also, I don't know if I have room to speak.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I will just digress from the topic in question. I just really want to thank everyone in this platform, those who were involved directly or indirectly during the election process for the IOSH council member. I just want to officially announce to you guys here that I was among the 12 elected member that will be sitting in IOSH council for the 2023-2024 session or year. So I really want to thank everybody. And for those who are on this platform who are not yet member of IOSH, it's a good call for us to be part of the IOSH community. It's a great place. It's a great place to be, as we are achieving a lot from Safeoclock. The same way we are also achieving great from the IOSH community at large. So I just want to thank everyone, every one of us for making it possible for me to be there. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Francis. We are happy you are there to represent us.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I hope you will share the dividends of democracy.
Yes. For sure. And we will be getting the information firsthand directly from you.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a good testimony for today.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I think nobody else has something to contribute. Francis, if you want to contribute, you can go ahead. Others
Actually, I would not want to say anything precisely because I wouldn't know what has been really dealt with. Okay, but fundamentally, what I would just like to say is that irrespective of whatever we've learned today, I just want to emphasize that there are several ILO conventions. There are a lot of conventions, a lot of standard which has preached about safe work environment, okay, or an LD place of work. All these things are incorporated into this topic of discussion because when we talk about workplace violence and harassment, it encompasses a lot of things, you know, which I would not want to say a lot of things that might have been a repetitive discussion. Okay, it's unfortunate that I had to come late. So, but I just wanted to know that this is a strong area which, as a professional, we should focus in these areas. I wouldn't know who have made contribution, but I know there is a lot of policies in some great organization that covers this aspect of workplace violence. You know, as a professional, we should advocate for policy implementation, policy development, and at the same time, how to protect the right of people who will come out. Will I say a whistleblower? Because there are some employees, they might not be able to voice out when issues like this arise because some organizations, they don't protect them. So we should advocate for all those things, how to protect workers, how to prevent confidentiality, so that people will not know that this is a person that revealed this, you know, and things like that. So it is very, very important we encourage all these things as a professional because we are not just just like a safety officer who just go to site and talk about maybe going for observation. At this level, we should be dealing with the management. So they should believe in our expertise. They should believe in our knowledge, what we are bringing to the table. Okay, because an LD work environment is profitable. Okay, but an environment which is not LD, which is toxic, can bring a lot of loss within an organization. Okay, so I just really want to encourage us. We'll have a lot of opportunity to bring in some topic that we might end up chipping this topic of discussion along the line. Okay, so I just want to rest my point at this juncture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a short and powerful contribution.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe David is sleeping already. So
no, David is not sleeping. Sorry, David is not sleeping. Though they've been a little distraction from my kids anyway.
They hear their voice already. They never sleep. They just say,
my brother, Taya, in fact, I go to bed before them. So based on the topic, violence in the workplace, right? And I think I had the last person that commented, which is Mr. Steven. I will only just share 2 tools that we actually use or we implement rather in order to manage and control violence in the workplace. So for instance, we have on my site what we call a form for reporting of grievances, you know, to the HRO. So rather than confronting anyone you think maybe used an abusive words on you or made an attempt to fight with you, so you can go to the HRO to report your grievances. Formally, you need to send an email, you know, with a description of what's actually transpired, you know, between you and that person, or what has the person done to you, how the person offended you. So that is one control, you know, we have in place in order to resolve disputes, you know, between two persons in case of conflict. Then another two we also implemented in the work site, you know, to manage violence in the workplace is that we have this barcode. There is a form that you can access, you can fill online. So for that form, we created a barcode, and this barcode is placed in all the rest shelter we have on the construction site. So in every rest shelter, convenient room, you can find it there. So just in case, it's within the reach of everyone. So, and on that form, we have for name anonymous, you know. So if you don't want to reveal your identity or reveal yourself, you can tick anonymous. So you can go ahead in order for, you know, your name not to be collected or for you not to be penalized or reprimanded by anyone. So that's one other way, you know, we collect information to resolve issue. And I think when Francis was talking, he made mention on something that has to do with, you know, violence with employers and violence with workers. So most times for the reporting, like I said, we put in the rest shelter. Most times the reports we get, it always boils down to salary not being paid as at when due. You understand? So these workers, they keep raising that concern. So it's also there. So we have that too. You know, it has been very, very useful and very, very effective. So we speak to workers who cannot really read and write. You know, they can express themselves. They just tell us, we help them to scan, and of course we impute the information. And the management, you know, they are committed to this. So the management, they also look into it. Then we also have another form, you know, this one is called notification form of any concern. That is, if somebody is harassing you, you know, especially for the female, the ladies working on the side, somebody is harassing you, sexual harass, violence, you know, whatever harass it is, whatever types of harass it is, they can fill that notification form. Any concern you have, you can fill that form also and submit. The management will also take a look at it. Then fourthly, another way we control these violence in the workplace in my site is that we have a program we call the C-Safe Area Leadership Walkthrough. So it's more like the normal walkthrough we all know, you know, during our weekly inspection, a combination of construction and management. You go on walkthrough, walkabout, inspection, all of that. It's almost a similar exercise with that of the C-Safe. But the C-Safe now focuses on the welfare of the workers. And, you know, when we speak about welfare, a lot is involved here in terms of their salary, allowances, bonuses, you know, are they well fed, their facility, amenities, are all these things made available to them? You know, these help us to be able to manage and reduce the risk of violence in the workplace. So most of the feedback we get, because this creates an opportunity for workers' involvement and engagement with senior management, with site management as well. So in that walkthrough, it comprises of the site management, you know, site construction senior management, they are to participate. And of course, safety, we are involved, you know. So we have like a questionnaire we use during the process. Although some of us, we are not familiar with those questions we usually ask. So we want to know, find out from the workers, their years of experience in the industry, how long they've been on the project, their accommodation. Do they have any challenge with their accommodation provided to them by their company? And transportation, means of transportation, is it company that provided for them, or they are compared to take care to cater for their own transport? So what about the food? Are they comfortable with the food? Do they have access to grocery? Are their salary paid as at when due, when is expected? We also look at their rotation, job rotation. So they don't just need to be working like, so as a company, define your work rotation. So we look into most of all these things. Are they happy working here? Are they happy working here? All these questions are asked and challenged, and it will surprise you some kind of feedback we get from these workers, some kind of feedback we get from them, we receive from them. Even the water, is water available? For a potable drinking water, is company really providing? What of when we are experiencing extreme temperature, extreme weather, heat stress? Are the company actually implementing the heat stress management system? Are they making those agro and electrolyte supplements? Are they really providing these things? So we want to know, because if the like this acronym we usually say in safety, an happy worker is a safe worker. If these workers are not happy, or maybe they are depressed, it could lead to one form of violence or the other in the workplace. Then lastly, regarding harassment, because when you talk about harassment, most times the female gender that works in the site with us, it's most time happens with them. Like in my place of work, there've been cases, there've been series of cases where they had to resolve as a result of maybe the female genders reporting a particular worker is making attempts on him, or most times it's the female gender that goes to report that the particular guy is making attempts on them or the other. So just like I said, a form is made available, they fill that form, the HRO manage this process. So whenever a report comes in, the HRO manage the process. And if the senior management needs to step in, then the case will be taken to senior management for final decision. And they have a committee. So whenever they have an issue, they will set up a committee and they will nominate people who will make up the panel of that committee. So those people now will investigate. They will call all the involved parties for questioning, for interrogation, to investigate, to interview them. So based on their investigation, from there they can make an informed decision, so that's how we manage the violence at work challenges in our construction site. Thank you very much. It's been an exciting time, and it's also a very good topic for us to really learn one or two things and know how to manage violence in the workplace. There are ways to manage this violence in the workplace, because when we say violence in the workplace, it's the same as conflict. When issues like this arise, although some of the techniques has been mentioned during the presentation, but you need to remain calm. You need to remain calm. Whenever there is a situation, you have to remain calm. You have to remain calm. And if it's an issue that cannot be handled by you, you need to immediately report to your superior. Once you have reported that issue to your superior, you've taken the burden off you. Your superior knows what to do. He's experienced. He will move on. He will escalate it. If he cannot handle it, he will escalate it until it gets to senior management, and the issue will be tackled appropriately. And I think this is a practical example of the scenario or case that Femi also shared with us. So there are so many cases, examples that I've really come across, but for time, I can't really share those scenarios with us. But however, using the right approach and taking, reporting to senior management and staying calm, and giving listening ear, listening to them, listen to them whenever they are talking. Don't be in any form of violence. Give them the listening ear, them, assuring them that you will take their concern to your boss. You know, they should be patient. You will pass it on to the management. So that's alone will give them some confidence. They will give you the time to do so, and you can be able to share the concern with your senior management or with your boss, you know, and from there, the issue can be managed amicably. So thank you very much for this opportunity given to me to make my own little contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. David, for that contribution. It's a very exciting one. I want to make one practical experience that I had. So this experience is not it's not like the experience goes this way. There was a contractor. There was a contractor that came to the site, and he was not on PPE. He didn't come into the site with the required PPE, and the safety officer in that location he was very new guy, and he handled the situation poorly. So instead of calmly telling him to go to the office area to get all the required PPE, he started bullying the guy. He tried to chase him away by force, and so that is not the way to handle that situation. That is also bullying, and it's also a situation that can lead to violence in the workplace. So as health and safety professionals, we should find a way to manage situations calmly and politely. So when the situation gets beyond you, just throw it over to your superior, just like David said. Don't try to solve everything yourself, because at the end you might get the issue agitated, and you might get injured also on site while trying to implement the procedure. So when it gets beyond you, you can no longer handle it. Report to the next person, especially some stubborn contractors. Don't try to handle everything yourself. So there is a question on the chat by David. What role does a safety professional have to play regarding violence in the workplace? The first one is communication. First role that you have to play is communication. You need to ensure that if there is a policy in place, if there is a workplace violence policy in place, it needs to be properly communicated to the workers. They need to understand the channel of communication. They need to know who they have to report to. How do they need to report, and what they need to report. Need to start and let them understand what is regarded as violence, or what should be reported, especially threats, verbal abuse, bullying. So you need to let them know the channel of reporting, so that they will not take the situation on their own hands or take actions on their own. So our major role there is communication, ensuring that they understand the policy against violence and the reporting procedure. And whenever they make a report, that we should be able to follow it up and ensure that there is a solution to it. So if the solution lies with the HR, we should be able to follow it up, ensure that something has been done, and feedback given back to the worker, so that they won't feel that they just reported and nobody is taking any action. So I think these are the directions where we play a major role in preventing violence at workplace. All right, I think we've done justice to this topic today. So I thank everyone that have contributed immensely. Thank you all for sharing your experience And thank you for joining today. Thank you for your time. So by same time next week, we'll be able to discuss another topic. And I will share with you the topic before then. So if you have another topic in mind also, you can let me know so that we'll prepare towards that. Okay, guys, do have a lovely.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's really
Thank you, Mr.
informative and educative as well.
Okay. Is Mr. Stephen still on this call? Mr. Stephen, congratulations. Okay, I don't think he's here.
Yeah,
All right.
All right, thank you, guys.
No.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.